Namaste and welcome to Youth TV Show Season 2. My name is Aishma Raimachi, and today we have with us Ms. Farah Pandith, Special Representative of Muslims for the United States Department of State. Her responsibilities as a special representative is to enhance the vision of Ms. Hillary Clinton to all the Muslims around the world. She was born in Srinagar, Kashmir, India, and she completed her master's in Law and Diplomacy from the Fletcher School of Law and Diplomacy in Tufts University in the United States. She is currently a board member of Fletcher School for the Overseas Department. She was also a board member of the American Cancer Society in Boston's Advisory Commission and also of the Steering Committee in the Silk Road Gala, which helped prevent domestic violence. She is currently on a tour to all the South Asian countries and has been to over 31 countries in the last 10 months. Let us welcome her.
This is a country that is home to many great religions. We are here a couple of days after Diwali. We are here now on Eid, and I feel really privileged to have a chance to talk with you today. You are the future of this country, and we are very interested in what is taking place in your communities all over Nepal, because Secretary Clinton has made it a priority to engage with those of you under the age of 30 who are doing exceptional things and are making a difference for the world. By hearing the stories of achievement, the dedication and the energy and the passion of the work that you do, we are learning about what is actually taking place on the planet now and ways that our government can be partners with you in your vision and in your goals. President Obama made engagement a priority. He asked us to engage with mutual interest and mutual respect. He did this, as the Deputy Chief of Mission said, in Cairo. But he also just very recently talked about it again in Jakarta, and his desire to do more around the world with our embassies around the world to engage. Whether you are engaging in building partnerships on science and technology, on entrepreneurship, some of you are social entrepreneurs or business entrepreneurs and idea entrepreneurs, whether it is on issues of human rights or women's empowerment, or a wide range of things in between. We want to be useful to you and help you in doing what you are doing so well, but moving it to the next level so that many of your stories get known around the world. I've often said that I have the best job in government because I get to travel around the world and meet young people like yourself and hear the stories that are taking place of young talent around the world. But by working with our embassies and getting to know people like yourselves, we're able to say, somebody that I met in Kathmandu who has this great idea can be connected with that person in Nouakchott, Mauritania, who's doing the exact same thing. Let's connect them. This is the Facebook generation. You are a generation that has connectivity like no other generation before you. With the click of your mouse, you're able to tell your story, make friends, and to move your ideas forward in very fast time. And I think that that brings great responsibility as well. What we are trying to do is to listen, to engage, and to build dialogue. My time here in Nepal has been really brief, and I wish it could be longer. But during the few days that I've been here, I've had a chance to meet with students, and I've had a chance to meet with entrepreneurs. But for me, I'm looking out at an audience of people that I know will be partners with us for years and decades to come, and that you will reshape the way we think about your country. So I want to pause and open it up for questions because I want you to tell me about things that you're working on, issues that are happening with your generation, questions that you might have of other young people that I've met in the course of 31 countries around the world. Yes, please.
My question to you is, what do you think about President Obama's Cairo speech?
It is unprecedented that a U.S. president, from day one, and in his inauguration speech, he laid out his vision for his administration on the first day of office. There was one faith group that he reached out to, and that was Muslims. And he said he wanted to rebuild and restore a relationship with Muslims around the world based on mutual interest and mutual respect. And I thought that was very, very important. A few months after that, the president spoke in Turkey, where he spoke to the Turkish parliament, and again echoed the themes that he talked about at his inauguration. But it was the Cairo speech that he laid out a very broad vision of engagement. And I want to be clear, I'm talking about Muslim engagement because it's 1/4 of humanity, but that does not at all mean that we are not engaging with other faith groups and other diverse ethnic groups. We are really committed to getting to know people that we haven't actually opened up doors for engagement or dialogue before. In Cairo, he did two things. Not only did he make this front and center and talk about his desire to do it and ask every part of our government to engage, so whether you're like me and work at the Department of State, or you're somebody that works at the Department of Commerce, or the U.S. Trade and Development Agency, Economic Affairs or Commerce Affairs, or Science and Technology and all these other things, he asked all of us to think about new ways where we can engage with 1/4 of humanity. And this is unprecedented. But the other thing he did was to talk about the challenges, the foreign policy challenges that we have to overcome. And he was very clear and very direct in doing that. This is a president that, again, in his first days of office, which is, again, unprecedented, talked about very key foreign policy challenges: Israel-Palestine, Iraq, Afghanistan, Pakistan, the closure of Guantanamo Bay, things that he knew were very serious issues for many people on the planet, not just one faith group, but people are concerned. They want peace in the Middle East. They want to find a resolution in Afghanistan and Pakistan. People want to push back against the ideology of violent extremism, no matter what religion you are. We want a peaceful planet. The president appointed an envoy for Middle East peace who has been working all day, every day, since that time on trying to reach a resolution. And President Obama just spoke in Indonesia about his commitment to the peace effort, his desire to see a resolution soon based on a two-state solution. He talked about Afghanistan and Pakistan, and he talked very clearly through his appointment of a special representative to Afghanistan and Pakistan, Richard Holbrooke. You have two very senior members of American, the political and policy arm, Senator George Mitchell, Richard Holbrooke, who are given the responsibility of dealing with these two issues. He also appointed an envoy for the closure of Guantanamo Bay, Ambassador Dan Freed, who was working to do that. So while he's looking at very serious foreign policy issues and how we can achieve a resolution, simultaneously, the president has said, these are very, very big challenges. We're working on this all the time. I also want to engage with other things that we can do to build common bonds, can build stronger communities, and the way to do that is through education and exchanges and technology and science and health and all these other things. So everybody else is working to get that done. So when you ask me, what do I think of the Cairo speech? I've worked for 3 presidents. I'm an American and I am a Muslim. And never in the history of our country have we seen such a robust and serious effort to rebuild and restore relationships with 1/4 of humanity.
Do you think that the conflict in the Middle East can ever be resolved?
I am an optimist, and I believe in the dedication that the President and the Secretary of State have placed on this as a priority. Everybody is working very hard.
Can you share your experience growing up in a foreign land?
Sure. So I think you heard in my introduction that I was born in Srinagar, Kashmir, India. And when I came to the United States, I was a baby. I learned about Islam in America. I was raised by a mom who found it very important for me to be able to read the Quran for myself so that I could learn what it said and not depend on other people to explain it to me. She was there at my side to help me understand some of the things that were going on, and I tried to do as much analytical thinking as I could. But I was very fortunate. America is a country that has every faith on the planet in America. It has every ethnicity and every nationality represented in America. We are a country that has a constitution that provides freedom of faith for everybody in America. So whether you're a Hindu or a Muslim or a Jew or a Christian or a Buddhist, you have the same rights. And you have the same rights to express yourself. A temple, a synagogue, a church, a mosque has the same ability to be able to be built we have people who are able to worship freely, and we have the ability to express yourself freely. So for me growing up, I saw no discrimination. I saw no distinction between me being Muslim or me being of Kashmiri background. Or, I mean, it was not an issue. I grew up outside of Boston, Massachusetts, on the East Coast, and I was very privileged to grow up in an environment that did not look at me any differently, although I was a minority. I had friends who I was the only Muslim girl there, who would ask questions about my heritage, understand that I was American, and that there was no contradiction between being an American and being a Muslim. I have very fond memories. I think all of you guys are young enough to understand how important it is to be respectful of your classmates. So if one person can eat pork and another person cannot, somebody is a vegetarian, somebody is not, today is Diwali, tomorrow is Eid, that you are respectful of each other. For me, growing up, my friends were very respectful of me. They protected me. They would check, the content of food to make sure there was no pork product in something, or they would make sure that I knew, look, alcohol is in that punch and you shouldn't have that. They were very supportive. That's what friends do. But I think the fundamental piece of all of this is that I knew who I was. I knew my rights for my country by virtue of the Constitution. I looked around and I saw strength in diversity. And in everything that I did, I understood how important it was to learn for myself what my religion said, what the Constitution of my country said, so that I was not dependent on others to explain this to me, so that I was not in any way feeling like I didn't have the same values or the same ability to be an American. And I want to say one more thing, though. As a young woman, that, too, was very important, that I knew that there was no distinction between being a man and being a woman, that I could dream as big a dream as my male classmates, that I had the same content in my brain as my male classmates, that I could study whatever I wanted, and if I had worked hard, I would have the same rights to work on what I wanted to do. She started off by talking about things I did in a volunteer capacity, and that's something else that was very important to me. While I was working really hard on my education, my mother and the environment that I grew up in was very much of that you can do more than who you can be more active than just going to school and coming back, that you can think about how you can add value to your communities. And so I volunteered all the time, not just in school, of what this committee, I was interested in student government, or I was interested in the sports club, or I was interested in this. Beyond the school things, that I was thinking, what's taking place in my community that I can make a difference? And I'm speaking to an audience that knows what I mean, because you too are looking around saying, boy, that's an issue, that's an issue, that's an issue, what can I do? That was very much a part of me. And so even outside of school, when I was in my professional career, I would always volunteer for causes that I knew were important to the community in which I lived.
Hello, my name is Farah Pandith and I'm 18 years old. Being a woman, how difficult was it for you to start your responsibilities after appointing to a special representative to Muslim communities?
Thank you for that question. For me, I think it's an advantage to be female, because there are many communities in which I go that are very traditional, which means that you can't access one half of, you want to access women and you want to access men. Being female allows me to be able to go into very traditional societies as a female and be able to talk to women, and I find that to be a strength. I also know that there are some cultures on the planet that are more conservative also, and it's not always easy to have a woman being able to talk with elder men, and I try to be as respectful as I can. What's important is that we find ways to listen. I have never looked at my gender as an obstacle, ever. And I think when we think about the qualifications of a background and what you've done to achieve a position or be qualified to be in that position, you don't look at the gender, you look at what you have done and what your capacities are. And you stand on your own 2 feet for that. And I feel very, very honored to serve my country in this way. I feel very honored to serve Secretary Clinton, who too understands how important it is that we engage with young people, that I do as much as I can. I've been to, as I said, more than 30 countries around the world in the last year, talking to young people, and for me, while there are cultural differences, some more conservative, some more liberal, the ability to talk about issues from an authentic point of view, with a background that is, that is strong and speaks for itself, has opened up doors for me, not closed them.
Today's Youth Asia, since 2002, creating future leaders for Nepal, connecting young leaders all over the world, making Nepal proud globally. Today's Youth Asia, GPO 8975, EPC 5478, Kathmandu, Nepal.